We stole the eagle from the Air Force, the anchor from the Navy, and the rope from the Army. On the seventh day, while God rested, we overran his perimeter, we stole the globe, and we've been running the whole show ever since.
We live like soldiers, and we talk like sailors, and slap the hell out of both of them. Soldier by day, lover by night, drunkard by choice, Marine by God. Prior to the end of World War II, Korea had actually been an Imperial Japanese colony. At the time of Japan's surrender, it was occupied by the Soviet Union, the South was occupied by the United States. In the north, you had Kim Il-jung leading the People's Government in the north, and in the south, you had Seoul leading the Republic of Korea. Both areas of Korea could not agree on who was the government that was going to be running the country, and the war had begun at that point. But it would not be until the Chinese government would step in that the United States would begin involvement. 7th Marine Regiment, 1st Battalion, 2nd Battalion would all enter in 1950. Due to China's involvement in the Korean War, the United States had deployed the 2-7 Marines to help take Seoul back. However, they had ended up landing east and were in Chosin. In 1950, they were involved in the Battle of the Chosin Reservoir. Captain William Barber of Fox Company of the 2-7 would receive a Medal of Honor for his actions during this battle. He had held off a large Chinese infantry force and preventing them from passing through what is called the Tuktong Pass, due to Company F being the main force in the ground. Due to Barber's valorous actions, it would be later nicknamed and referred to as Fox Hill. Captain William Barber's actions and his battalion 2-7 made it possible so the 5th and 7th Marine Regiments could mobilize and retreat through the pass up to the Udani. This made it possible for the two regiments to meet up with the 1st Marine Division. Under Captain Barber's orders, 2nd Battalion, 7th Marine Regiment, Fox Company, held what would now later be called Fox Hill for 6 days straight, allowing other Marines to recoup and retreat. The 2-7 only had 800 Marines at the time of the battle. Captain Barber, on the second evening, was shot in the pelvis. However, rather than leaving medical and evacuation, stayed in the fighting for the next 4 days straight. Captain Barber continued the fight using a makeshift crutch with his men, holding down Fox Hill. They held it down till the 5th evening when air support finally arrived and they were able to evacuate the Marines from that area. As they held out on Fox Hill, the 1st Marine Battalion, 7th Regiment, led by Lieutenant Colonel Davis, arrived to provide relief for Fox Company, the 2-7.
March 26, 1953, Chinese soldiers attacked 3 Marine Hill outposts in North Korea manned by Marines and corpsmen from the 5th Marine Regiment, 1st Marine Division, named Vegas. Fox Company of the 2nd Battalion, 7th Reg Marines were held in reserve and were committed to fight for Outpost Vegas. There was a corpsman named Master Chief William Schrey. The unit was taking massive casualties amounts, and him and other corpsmen were in the field trying to treat all the wounded Marines. Jarrett was leading an assault to hand-to-hand combat when an enemy grenade landed near him, badly wounding a Marine he was aiding. He placed himself on top of the Marine in order to shield him from the explosion, and in doing so, the grenade's blast tore off Jarrett's helmet and destroyed his medical bag and knocked him unconscious. When he awoke, he had found his face bleeding from shrapnel wounds. Although he was injured, he wiped the blood out of his eyes, gathered up as much from his medical bag as he could find, and began treating other wounded Marines. For his valorous acts, he received the Medal of Honor. Another Marine out of the 2-7 was Hector A. Cafferata Jr. Cafferata distinguished himself during the Battle of the Chosin Reservoir, single-handedly holding off a regimental-sized enemy force and annihilating 2 enemy platoons. After nearly all of his fire team had been killed or wounded, only he and a fellow Marine, Kenneth Benson, were able to maintain resisting enemy forces. While running to get more ammunition for his M1, he had his trench shovel, and he actually was hitting grenades back at the enemy with it. Benson was temporarily blinded after a grenade went off near his face. Benson kept reloading his M1, and while Cafferata, a crack shot, fought the enemy without either his coat or his boots, neither of which he would locate early in the morning darkness.
The fight started early in the morning and lasted over 5 hours. When a live grenade fell into the shallow entrenchment they were occupying, Caffarata had grabbed it, hurled it away, saving the lives of many but also suffering severe wounds. He was finally seriously wounded by a sniper, and this event earned him the Medal of Honor. Since 1775, there's a lot of history, a lot of traditions, weapon systems, and equipment. One of the most popular items that the Marine would be issued or carrying would be the K-bar. What exactly is a K-bar? K-bar is what was developed in 1942. The United States Marine Corps had adopted the 12-19C2 combat knife. Later on was also changed to the Mark II. Although not standard issue as the bayonet, some people modified their K-bars and used them as bayonets in Korea and Vietnam. K-bar being the manufacturer, also easier than saying the 12-19-2C, hence the reason why they call it K-bar. After the withdrawal from the frozen Chosin Reservoir, the 1st Marine Division was evacuated from Hungum. The battalion took part in fighting in the East Central Front and Western Front of the Jamestown Line for the remainder of the war. There were multiple Medal of Honors awarded to men who had lived through and lost their lives in the Battle of the Frozen Chosin, as they deserve to be remembered just as much as everybody else. Corporal Lee H. Phillips received the Medal of Honor November 4th, 1950, posthumously. Staff Sergeant Robert S. Kennemore, November 1950. Private First Class Hector A. Caffarata, 28th of November 1950. Captain William E. Barber, December 1950. Sergeant Daniel P. Matthews, 1953. Hospital Corpsman 3rd Class William R. Charette, 27th of March 1953. Staff Sergeant Ambrosio Julian, 25th of July 1953, posthumously.